No, prime ministers can't be Mr. Beans. They have to be practical people, down to earth, relatable. Being prime minister doesn't mean that I'm ensconced in an office somewhere. It really means that I have to be at ground zero where the action is. And the action is right here with you, the people who will make the Jamaican economy grow and bring prosperity to the people of Jamaica. I want to congratulate the board and management of DBJ, Mr. Chris Zaka, the new chairman, Wilberton, the managing director, and the board members who are here for this innovative new idea to stimulate innovation in business. And I like the acronym IGNITE. It's very catchy. Innovation Grant for New Ideas to Entrepreneurship. It really captures and encapsulates what it is that the DBJ is supposed to do. One of the things that the DBJ is supposed to do. You know, everything is in a name. So if you start off with a good name like Andrew Michael Holness, you're going to do good things. So I like the IGNITE name. A good name rolls into a good brand. And a good brand is absolutely necessary for business. So I think that this program will last, and I'm expecting that the DBJ will put the support and marketing behind the program. I mean, for me, the success of the program is the number of persons who apply. Unfortunately, you may have to turn away some, you may have to raise the bar of competition, but what you want is to get more people knowing that we are actually, the government is actually in the business of promoting business and developing new business. So I think we are off to a good start. But what I would want the public to know as well is that the government is not going to do everything. In fact, it is not the role of the government to do everything. Government must do what it does best. The role of government is to create a regulated environment for business. It is to deal with regulation. The second role, where markets don't work, where markets fail, or where there are opportunities, resources that don't meet, then the government becomes what is called a market maker. Unfortunately, for many years, we have not had clarity in the role of government in our society. And so government has had its hands in all kinds of things. And we have ended up with a public sector that is large relative to what it produces. That speaks to a certain level of inefficiency, which is not the fault of the public sector. And we are now in the process of rethinking what our government sector, what our public sector should be doing. So I like what the DBJ has done. The DBJ itself is not holding the hands of the 27 firms and itself trying to teach them. What the DBJ has done is effectively contracted out the process of business development through a competitive process. Because the business development institution, did I get it right? The business support, the business services institutions, they themselves have had to go through a competitive process. And what has happened now is that you have selected from that competitive process the best business services institutions that will work with those 27 firms to actually deliver the service of business development. So the DBJ is playing the role of a market maker. It sees that there is an opportunity. Many young people, brilliant, innovative, naturally entrepreneurs. But they may not know how to write a business plan. They may not be able to access financing. They may not understand the processes that go into setting up a successful business. And so what you have done is to pair that talent with the resource. And you have now created a market. That's the role and function of government. And we will follow this principle right through the public service. Things that government does not need to do, we will not do it. We will pass it on to the private sector to do it. And that is a keynote that I am delivering here today. That we have to rethink and recalibrate government. Government must do the things that it does best and allow the private sector to do the things that they can do best. All of this is about economic growth and job creation. How do we get growth? Growth is not a mystery. Though it has eluded us for many years, growth is not a slippery creature. Growth requires instrumentality, a deliberate, assertive government that works with the stakeholders to bring resources together with opportunity. Economic growth is not an accident. We're not just going to happen upon it. Even countries that have happened upon oil, they have not grown. We have it with us to structure our society, our government, to get growth. Let me demystify growth for a minute. If you want to grow your economy, the first thing that you will have to do is to grow firms. If you want to grow your economy, you don't grow government, you grow business. Is that a secret? Is that a mystery? Is that straightforward? So government has to be deliberate and instrumental, has to be on the shop floor where the action is in supporting the growth of firms. And if you want to grow firms, well, there are two things. One is that you have to support the development of the entrepreneurial skill. Which helps to create new firms. And then the other thing, if you want to grow firms, you have to grow markets. Is that complex? Very straightforward. So you have to create entrepreneurs. They create new businesses, they bring new ideas, they innovate. And then you have to grow the market. Firms do have a role in growing the market. But government, whilst it is playing the market maker, can also grow markets. And what I've been focusing on in the first 4 or 5 months of the administration is to use foreign policy to seek out new markets and establish new relationships. Because the truth is that the Jamaican market is limited. For our firms to truly grow, we have to treat CARICOM as our market as well. And to use CARICOM as a launching pad for Latin America. Not just North America. We also must now start to see China as a market for Jamaica. All we need is 1% of 1% of the Chinese market. So, my government We are playing the role of the market maker. We are developing the entrepreneurs, we are matching resources with opportunity. But we are also going out there bilaterally, talking to countries, establishing the fundamental political and diplomatic relationships to ensure that we can build on that. That when you create the next big thing, that it is not just big in Jamaica, it is big all over. That is how you grow an economy. We are clear on what we're doing. We are focusing on developing small, medium, micro enterprise, and we're going to grow them. But we also want to grow businesses that are already big by growing their markets. And you will start to see growth. It won't happen overnight, but you will start to see signs of growth emerging. I didn't come here to lecture. But there are some other things, of course, that government can do in encouraging business. And one way to grow business is to use the agricultural analogy that you can plant the seed will grow, but the seed to really grow fast, you have to water it. So you have to provide other conditions in it. The regulatory environment has to facilitate it. And there are other things that support the growth of business. For example, the availability of credit and financing for small business. And we need to take a very close look at the financial sector to see how we can change the regulatory environment to facilitate greater access to financing and credit. Not just for small business, but for business generally. Right now, you can't use your working capital, your receivables in such a way as to collateralize credit. In other countries, with businesses that you are competing with, they can do that with their working capital or with their receivables. We can't do that here in Jamaica because of the regulation. So we need to start to take a look at that. What are the things that are in the regulatory environment which limits our business from being just as competitive as businesses elsewhere? It won't happen overnight. There are interests all over that you have to have a conversation with. And that is why we have the Economic Growth Council. That sometimes government can't really drive the agenda because there are all kinds of issues and views and perspectives. So sometimes it has to be the industry players themselves who sit down and say, how can we make these adjustments, these changes, without exposing ourselves to the risks? And so that process of starting the conversation, that is now being done by the Economic Growth Council. And so you will start to see in the near future changes in the regulatory environment that are supportive of business. So I came here today to say to you, I support what you're doing 100%. I endorse the work of the DBJ and to remind you that I am the Minister of Economic Growth. Thank you very much.